TinkerCAD tip. Recently I showed you a simple method for reorienting an object back to its original work plane, the default work plane, which sort of worked like this. We can grab the Workplane Tool here, and I place it up under here and holding the Shift key, I can place the work plane there. I can then select that object, hit Control C. We'll put the work plane back on the default here. Let's zoom out a bit. Put it back here and hit Control V, and we'll hit D to drop it to the work plane, and that was that method. But I want to show you another method that is similar but different. So if we select an object here, we can use the Cruise tool, which is this little magnet looking thing up here in the corner, and by clicking on that we get this plane that appears on the bottom of the object. Now, you should note that where it places that plane will always be from the way it was when we originally brought it out from our space over here on the right. So for instance, I've put it on the bottom of this cone, and if I grab that center dot, no matter where I put it, it'll orient to that plane, like on the side of the square, or we can move it over here to the top of this hexagon or the side of this. Now, I wanted to note that what it will do, it was always orient on that work plane as it was when it first came out. For instance, if we bring this object out here, we click on the Cruise tool, it'll be on the bottom. And that also applies, let's go ahead and delete that real quick. If I were to bring it out and put it on the side of this and select away, if I click on it and use the Cruise tool, it always goes back to that original bottom surface. Now, there is a difference. If, for instance, let's say I have this pyramid here, and let's drop it to the work plane, and let's say I wanted to put this front side of it flat down on the work plane, I can do that. So I'm going to first start by moving up underneath here. I'm using the work plane, and I'm going to hold down the Shift key so that the work plane is pointing up towards the tip of the pyramid. We'll click on that. We'll select that. We'll hit Control C. We'll zoom back out. Put this on the default, hit Control V. So here's our new one, and now let's say I wanted to put it on this front surface face down. I could click on the work plane again, holding the Shift key so I'm pointing up into the object. I select that, click on the pyramid, hit Control C, come back out, put the work plane back on the default, hit Control V, and now it's on that side. Okay, so there's a difference between using the Cruise tool and using the work plane reorientation. Cruise tool will always go to its original bottom surface. For instance, we have this pyramid here. If I select on it and hit the Cruise tool, note that the Cruise tool goes back to that original surface, no matter what. There you go. That's the difference between using the Cruise tool, which is a quick way to put it back on the work plane, or using the Workplane tool to reorient on a different surface. For instance, this hexagon, I'm going to hold the Shift key to point up into the object, place the work plane there, select it, Control C, put the work plane back on the default here. Sometimes we have to move around so we can put the work plane back. Oh, wrong place. Sometimes TinkerCAD can be fussy here. There we go. Hit Control V, and now we're on the side of that hexagon. So there you go. The difference between Cruise tool and using the work plane to reorient something on a particular side or surface. Like, follow, and share, as always, helps the algorithm. And if you have questions about these techniques or a comment, you know where to drop the comments.